My subject is the impact of anchoring or misanchoring in creating a difference in meaning or a different meaning. First, I'd like to just explain some terms. What I mean by anchoring is that both the listener and the speaker understand each other. There's, of course, a difference between this anchoring and NLP anchoring, that is neuro-linguistic programming anchoring, that is used just to regain confidence for those people who lost their confidence. But our anchoring today is situational and accidental anchoring that happens offhand without any preparation. Misanchoring is based on the claim that there may be a difference between the intention, the stimulus of the speaker or the writer, and that of the listener or the reader. Both may refer to the same thing or concept, but each reference retains a distinct situational meaning or response. Such a difference creates a double meaning, which is perceived by the reader who, in a way or another, builds up his own interpretation, blended from both intentions he reads, or from the one intention that strikes a chord in him or finds an immediate anchor in his memory. As for the listener, his response, whether it is a state of anchoring or misanchoring, depends upon what his memory prioritizes as the best fit for the situation. Accordingly, incidents of everyday life, a movie or a literary work may take an unexpected turn which produces different interpretations than the one intended. Taking NLP anchoring as a starting point prepares for and later creates a paradigm for measuring the richness and profitability of memories on which misanchoring is based. By discussing different literary works, movies, and daily life events using anchoring or misanchoring as a reading mechanism, one concludes that a difference in meaning or different meanings can be crystallized in order to reach a better understanding of works under analysis. By accidental and situational anchoring may be misplaced in a way that the mental or emotional state and perception are associated to a stimulus different from the one intended. I mean that when I ask someone, have you been to the bank lately? Bank here means money and bank means river bank. The one immediate memory that came to his mind will be present. The other one will be absent, of course. So, when an anchor is misplaced, at least two responses are produced, a true response and a false one. In situational or accidental anchoring, the situation creates an offhand stimulus, an anchor that works unconsciously, unlike NLP ones, and records the immediate memory to the steps, as I said about the bank word. Response to the situation may be an anchoring or a misanchoring. Gibson sees that one responds to conscious and subconscious anchors every day, claiming that one can set up anchors in order to achieve success, regardless of the setting. However, she does not take into consideration offhand situations and situation-raised stimuli. What Hayes says about how anchoring works can partially be applied to accidental or situational anchoring. I quote, "It works on the same principle that is in place when a sensory stimulus puts us in mind of a particular time or context from our past. Anchoring is essentially using a stimulus." Misanchoring in daily life. Anchoring on the jargon of a group, that is the language used by a certain group, enables one to discover whether someone with this same external appearance of the group members belongs and believes in the same group or not. Now, this example is on Salafi people, bearded Muslim people, and it happened actually in Alexandria in Egypt. Some Salafi, a bearded Muslim, was driving in an opposite direction, on which occasion a cafe man warned him in a loud voice saying, "Forbidden." The Salafi answered with a smile, "Allah yhannin alayk," which is in English, "May Allah be tender and generous with you." The cafe man said to cafe goers laughingly, "He is not original," meaning he is not a true follower, because if he was, he would say, "Jazakallah kullu khair," may Allah reward you with all good things, which is the first reply expected from the Salafi. So the cafe man anchors the word Jazakallah kullu khair as the first response that should come from that man who went on the opposite direction. In 2002, in Giza railway station there in Egypt, at the time of SARS, a virus that was much in rife in China and other places was widespread at the time. One of the porters, seeing a group of Chinese tourists, used the same technique of African American innuendos and called SARS. On seeing Chinese tourists, the first response was anchoring on a cultural event. Misanchoring and literary works. Anchoring, mnemonic in nature, is used in Shakespearean theater. The physical properties of the theater, the space itself, the players, and the many stage properties used and reused from play to play become the materials for the mnemonic dramaturgy that shapes language, character, and plot. Moreover, I quote, in their frequent absence, such objects become a way to evoke a mind and the past that move between the common, shared by the audience, staged elsewhere in the play, and the comparatively private, unstaged, but described in ways that evoke the physical materials of the stage. In Shakespeare's plays, the already theoretical method of the place-based mnemonics become a theoretical language in which an intangible and imagined past is made rhetorically present. The temporal anchor is crystallized in Bakhtin's opinion. I quote, Shakespeare's memory theater creates what Mikhail Bakhtin would call a chronotype, a time space in which time, as it were, thickens, takes on flesh, becomes artistically visible. Likewise, space becomes charged and responsive to the movement of time, plot, and history. In Shakespeare's comedies, disguised and mistaken identity-based misanchoring produces a series of twisted meanings that change the course of events and help develop the plot. Confusion-based situations in which the characters are unaware of some facts known to the audience lead to a state of chaos and situational misanchoring. Taming of the Shrew, Measure for Measure, Love's Ladders Lost, and The Merchant of Venice hold good here. However, in The Comedy of Errors and Twelfth Night, mistaken identities are not just a device, but the main impulse of the plot. In Robert Frost's poem Period, this is a poem, misunderstanding is revealed in the setting of the poem. The wife is upstairs near the window while the husband stands downstairs near the door. The very title of the poem produces different meanings for the husband, the wife, and the readers, each of which will perceive anchors in the two words home and period, which associate with one's own past memories. I quote from the poem, the first 12 lines form an ambiguity-loaded image. He saw her from the bottom of the stairs. Before she saw him, she was starting down. Looking back over her shoulder in some fear, she took a doubtful step and then undid it, to raise herself and look again. He spoke, advancing toward her. What is it you see from up there always? For I want to know. She turned and sank upon her skirts at that, and her face changed from terrified to dull. He said to gain time, what is it you see? Mounting until she cowered into him. I will find out now. You must tell me, dear. One does not know what the husband is talking about. What secret does his wife conceal from him? Does he mean by what is it you see, a human being or a thing? If it's a human being, is it a lover, hers, a friend or a relative the husband doesn't like? Every reader is going to respond accordingly to what anchor he perceived and which these lines triggered in him. Interpretations necessarily differ from one reader to another according to what response the associative memory provides to the anchor misunderstood. Misanchoring and filmmaking. Of course, we have about top 10 of the mistaken identity movies. But I'm going to talk about Rush Hour 3, if you have seen this film, Rush Hour 3 and another Arabic film. In Rush Hour 3, a movie directed by Brett Ratner and produced in 2007, Chris Tucker, starring as Carter, a black friend of Jackie Chan, who was starring as Lee, stood in front of a closed door, eavesdropping and thinking that the screams of Lee and the woman were a natural response to a sexual intercourse. Now I'm quoting Carter and the screams. Come on, crouching tiger, don't hide that dragon. Oh, you tear the ass up. You are a super freak. Of course, Carter because he didn't see what happened behind closed doors. He imagined that the screams came from a sexual intercourse, but in fact, he anchors the oral image to a past stimulus, a sexual experience or a scene. Misanchoring occurs since the audiences watch the real situation, a fierce fight in which the woman was keen on killing Jackie Chan. The intermingling of the two events, one fake, the other real, with a fixed space and time, shows that misanchoring may not strictly follow Bakhtin's chronotype, bearing in mind that the stimulus is there in the past. The last example is Hamada Yel'ab, which is Hamada may have fun in English. It is produced by Saeed Hamid in 2005. Exactly after 23 minutes of the movie, Hamada and his friends went in another search for a girl called Layla Saeed Ahmed in order to play the role of Hamada's fiancée, who jilted him and got married to another one, so that Hamada can claim a $1 million prize for which he had submitted a subscription signed by his and Layla's names before. This Layla of the following dialogue happens to live and work in a brothel, where they met the pimp in charge, who they took for Layla's father. Along this anchored dialogue took place among Hamada, his two friends, Fuad and Abdurrahman, the pimp, and the two whores, Layla and Hussein. The dialogue can be said to be a good example of a double entendre because it bears at least two meanings, one of which is sexual. So through this dialogue, I have, I think, 3 minutes left. Through this dialogue, you can see misanchoring situations. They mean something and the man means another thing. They mean to search for one with the same name, Layla Saeed Ahmed, to act as Hamada's fiancé just to get the $1 million prize. And the bin means that to sell any whore for them with the same name, Layla Saeed Ahmed. So I'm not going to read the dialogue, it's a long one just to save time. We reach conclusion, okay? As the title of the paper shows, different perceptions lead to different responses. A reader's or a listener's memory responds to a given anchor according to the first meaning this anchor crystallizes. Examples of everyday life, literary works, and movies illustrate that misanchoring occurs when an anchor is misunderstood. The nature of accidental and situational anchoring makes it different from NLP anchoring, which can occur more than once by repeating the stimulus. Accidental misanchoring or anchoring results from unprepared for situations. Therefore, different meanings are produced, leaving the end of the conversation or the situation undecided and unexpected. Accidental anchoring occurs every day in different situations when a listener misunderstands the stimulus. His memory responds in a different way that is naturally expected. This paper is but a starting point that suggests how a new interdisciplinary field of study can be created depending on NLP anchoring and literary works and media-based accidental and situational misanchoring. Further research should be conducted in order for the relation between NLP anchoring and accidental situational anchoring to develop into joint research projects that depend on theory and practice, with the ultimate aim of enriching human knowledge. Thank you for your time. Any questions?